What if every single video you posted brought you one step closer to a sale? That is exactly how YouTube should work. But most people struggle to turn views into customers, not because they don't upload enough, but because they make the wrong kinds of videos. I've been writing YouTube videos for years now, and I've learned a ton about strategy along the way. So today I'm going to show you how to structure your content strategy so that every video plays a role in your business, bringing in new leads, building trust, and turning viewers into buyers. So to start, we need to understand how the YouTube sales pipeline actually works. And weirdly enough, it's a lot like building a cult. Think about it. A cult doesn't just pop up overnight. There's a process to it. First, you need followers. So there's a whole recruitment process. Second, you can't just invite people in and expect them to be all in from day one. So you need to indoctrinate them, get them to buy into the philosophy. And lastly, you need your followers to take action, right? This is where you get people to shave their heads, or abandon their family, or I don't know, chop their hands off or something, whatever cults do. When you're selling a product or a service through YouTube, it's the exact same thing, except you don't want anyone chopping their hands off. You actually want them to hand you their credit card. So instead of cult members, on YouTube, you have leads. And here's where this connects to your content strategy, because just like building a cult, there's 3 stages to making your leads buy whatever it is you have to sell. And each one of them corresponds to a different type of video. Number 1, reach videos are like your recruitment process. Their job is to attract as many new eyeballs as possible, which is why they're usually broad and entertaining. Think challenge videos, tier lists, and vlogs. Number 2, nurture videos are like when you're indoctrinating, warming up your leads. So think deep dives, ultimate guides, and case studies where you educate and provide value so people get to know, like, and trust you. And lastly, your convert videos are all about action. They're designed to take these warm leads you have and turn them into paying customers, whether that's raising your brand awareness or using a strong call to action to your product or service. So it's exactly like a cult. But here's the thing. A cult doesn't actually work if you skip any of the steps. I mean, if you don't recruit anyone, then you're just a lunatic. And if you don't indoctrinate your followers, nobody's going to buy into your whole charade. And they definitely won't stick around when you ask them to chop their hands off. On YouTube, that means no one's buying your stuff. And this is where most businesses fail. So let's bring this back down to earth, because if you've been spending hours making videos but struggling to grow your business through YouTube, then it's probably because you're skipping one of the steps. And there's 4 different categories of people when it comes to this. The first, I like to call clowns. It's not an insult, it just means they care more about entertaining than actually growing their business. This is why so many YouTubers, even those who have a ton of subscribers, are actually broke. They make vlogs, viral challenges, and the like, but even if they get thousands or even millions of views, their audience only comes to them for entertainment. They're not actually someone you would buy from. This is what happens when you only make reach videos. You can pump out as many bangers as you want, but your channel is not a real business. So then the obvious solution is to start selling, right? Well, that's where the clown becomes the second type of creator, the scammer. Now, the scammer isn't necessarily an actual scammer, but that's how they end up being perceived. This is the person who goes straight from mass market reach videos to ultra niche convert videos without taking the time to nurture their audience in between. Technically, you can make some money this way, at least in the short term. But if you treat every new viewer like they should be a paying customer, there's a cost. First, your sales are going to be abysmal because your leads aren't warm. Then the people who do buy are not going to be good fits for your offer. And worst of all, even if you're legit, the majority of your audience who doesn't buy from you starts calling you a scammer. Just look at what happened to Yes Theory. They built a massive brand of high energy adventure content. They were entertainers, great entertainers. But when they launched an educational YouTube growth course, it almost killed their channel. They were getting called sellouts and scammers because that's just what happens when you try to sell a niche product to a cold mass market audience. And once you get that reputation, it's almost impossible to shake. So in response to this, there's a third category of creator, which I call the professor. This was Ali Abdaal's early career. For years, he made super valuable videos about studying, about productivity and online business, and his audience loved him for it. But at first, he wasn't making serious money. See, professors usually don't try to go viral, and they're not salesy. Instead, they just focus purely on nurture videos. So they make deep dives, ultimate guides, in-depth breakdowns, which can be insanely valuable. But here's the problem. Because they don't make any reach videos, they don't have as big of an audience as they could, and even if they did, at the end of the day, they never actually convert any of their leads. Professors are so busy teaching that they forget to have a business. And the thing is, their audience still buys from someone, just not them. So if you're the professor, you might finally realize, okay, I actually need to sell. But that's when you risk becoming the 4th kind of creator, the salesman. These guys, as you might have guessed, are all conversion all the time, like Ty Lopez. His "Here in My Garage" ad is honestly a piece of internet history, but he paid for that traffic. He had to, because he hadn't built any trust. So he's probably also the reason millions of people discovered what an ad blocker is. Now, Ty made a lot of money from that video, but that's not the case for most salesmen. They think that just because their product is good, people should buy it immediately. But they forget that YouTube is an attention-first platform. If you don't entertain, even just a little bit, nobody's gonna click. And if you don't provide value, nobody's gonna watch. That's why the average salesman's videos gets like 17 views. It's why they don't build an audience and why their business doesn't grow. And those are the 4 most common traps. The salesman has no audience, the clown has no business, nobody buys from the scammer, the professor never sells. Now, if you're looking at one of those and thinking, wait, that kind of sounds like me, don't panic. Everyone falls into one of these traps at some point. But for every Tai Lopez, there's an Alex Hormozi who makes incredible business education videos and makes hundreds of millions on the back end by helping businesses grow. And I mean, Ali Abdaal figured it out. He kept nurturing his audience, but he also added reach videos to bring in new viewers and convert videos to turn them into customers. So now he has a book, courses, and products. He makes millions of dollars from YouTube. The truth is, anyone can figure out a content strategy that works for their business. It's just a matter of knowing when to reach, when to nurture, and when to convert. It's about striking the right balance. But here's the thing. If you're selling a high-ticket coaching program, you're gonna need a very different content strategy than someone selling their book for 25 bucks. There's no golden ratio here. So the question isn't, how do I stop being a professor or a salesman? It's what's the right approach for my business. Now, normally, figuring this out for yourself is a nightmare. But lucky for you, I've come up with a simple framework to make it easy for you. And all you have to do is answer 4 questions. First, are you monetizing your content or selling a product/service? This is the first and biggest factor because it completely changes what kind of audience you need and how you make money. If your goal is to make money from the videos themselves, through ads, sponsorships, then it means your strategy is 100% reach, because more videos just equals more revenue. That's it. But if you're running a product-driven business, meaning you sell courses, services, digital or physical products, then you don't just need any audience. You need an audience that's willing to buy. That means more nurture and more convert videos. If that's you, then this brings us to the second question. Are you selling to a niche or a mass market audience? Think about Feastables. Mr. Beast doesn't need to explain chocolate. He just needs millions of people to see it, because more people seeing his product equals more sales. And if this is you, your content strategy should lean heavily on reach. But if your business is niche focused, meaning you sell something for a specific type of customer, then you need to put a lot more effort in educating them. That means more nurture, less broad reach. And depending on your business goals, that brings us to the third question. Are you focused on brand awareness or direct sales? So for example, if you have a clothing brand, and you want to raise your brand recognition, then you need a reach first strategy, and then you're nurturing people a little bit with your messaging. But if your goal is direct sales, whether it's launching a product, driving conversions, or making immediate revenue, then you need a heavier mix of nurture and convert content. And that brings us to the final question. Is your offer low ticket or high ticket? People don't need to think for weeks before buying a snack. If your product is relatively cheap, like a Feastables bar or a $25 book, your sales are likely driven by curiosity or habit. So you need to focus more on reach. But if your offer is high ticket, like a coaching program, a premium course, or a service like we do, you need to nurture the hell out of your viewers. Build trust, show your expertise, and prove that you can actually solve your viewers' problems. Ask yourself these questions, because at the end of the day, the creators who win don't just make content for the algorithm, they make content for their business. And in case you hadn't noticed, this is a nurture video, but now let's add a little convert. If you already have a YouTube channel or you want to start one to grow your business, my team and I can help you do it the right way. We make videos just like this for our clients, and we take care of everything, from content strategy to script writing, editing, and production, so you can focus on what actually matters, which is running your business. So if you're ready to start printing more money than the Federal Reserve, go click the top link in the description and book a call. We'd love to help. All right, with that said, see you in the next one.